You need to lie to your family or you won't be successful. And I'll explain why. So make sure you watch the entire video. But before I do that, let me ask you this. I want you to think, how much have you held back in your life because of someone might thinks? How many things haven't you started? How many videos haven't you posted? How many ideas have you killed before even giving them a chance? All because you were scared of what other people might think. And listen, there is a reason why we as human beings care about what other people think of us. And that's because we are social animals and we've always lived in groups. So it's normal that we care about what the other people think of us because we don't want to feel different. We don't want to be judged. We want to be accepted. But unfortunately, that's also what stops us from getting to our goals. And I think that the opinions of others are like poison, but not the kind of poison that kills you instantly, but the kind of poison that infects your brain and slowly kills all your motivation and ambition. You probably noticed this in your life, but if you haven't, just start paying attention to it. Have you noticed how whenever you have good news or you have an idea, maybe you want to start a business or whatever it is, you have an idea and you're excited about that idea. So you tell it to someone, and their reaction is not what you were expecting. They may undermine you or tell you that you're too ambitious or that you should be more realistic, and it hurts, right? And at first, you don't care. You tell yourself that you're going to do it anyway. But in reality, you do care a little bit. And that opinion starts infecting your brain with negativity. And what happens is that as soon as you encounter an obstacle in your journey to get to your goal, which you inevitably will, you start second guessing yourself. You start thinking about the opinions of others, and you start thinking, maybe they were right. Maybe I should be more realistic. And the more obstacles you encounter, the more you believe that what they said was true until you eventually give up. But at least you've tried. Because some people don't even start because they're too scared of what other people might think. And I think opinions have killed more dreams than anything else in the world. So it's essential to learn how to not give a fuck about what other people think. But it's really not that easy. It's not an easy task. People say just stop caring as if it was that easy, but it's not that easy. And deep down, you always do care a little bit. But I will tell you how I did it and how I stopped letting the opinions of other people infect my brain. And it's the easiest trick in the world. And it is to not tell anyone about your goals. I'm the type of person who never says shit to everyone. Like, people don't know what I'm up to. Like, 90% of the time, people don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't tell nobody shit. I'm the type of person who disappears for like 6 months and then comes back 6 months later, rich as fuck, with, achieved all my goals. That's the type of person I am. And everyone looks at me and they're like, how the fuck did you do it? And the reason I do that is what I explained before. When you tell other people your goals, you're basically allowing them to give you an opinion. And 99% of the time, people's opinions are going to be negative because this is how just people are. They are negative, they are jealous, they project their own insecurity onto you. And I don't want any of that shit to infect my brain. It's much easier to not give a shit about what other people think if no one knows what you're up to, if no one knows what you're doing. And it might seem sad or depressing because you're lonely, but it's very hard to find like-minded people who are just going to support you no matter what. And if you have these kind of people, well, you're lucky. But you should avoid telling people things because they simply won't understand your vision. And it's not necessarily because they're bad people, they just have a different mindset. They just see the world in a different way. And you shouldn't tell people things, especially your family. If you know they're not going to support you and they're not going to understand, just don't tell them shit. And the reason why I say especially your family is because we tend to give a lot of weight to the opinions of the people we care about, our family or our close friends. And for example, let's say your dad told you that you shouldn't chase your dream because you won't make it and you should just stick to a regular 9 to 5, go to college, whatever. And that opinion holds a lot more weight that if a complete stranger told you the same thing. And naturally, we care about the opinions of the people we love, but they're usually also the ones that hold us back the most. And I know what you're thinking. I know that it sounds extremely lonely, it sounds depressing, it sounds like you're keeping secrets from, people you love and people you care about. But don't see it that way because that's not what it is. First of all, the journey to the top is lonely, and you're gonna have to accept that if you're extremely ambitious. If you're lucky enough to find people who understand your vision and share the same perspective on life, well, you're lucky, hold on to these people. But not telling people what you're working on is not about being secretive or being dishonest. It's about protecting something that's important to you, protecting your vision from people who don't have the context to understand it yet. You can't make people understand the vision, unfortunately. And let's take, for example, Elon Musk. Let's say Elon Musk, he wanted to build reusable rockets and he told everyone he wanted to do that. And everyone called him crazy. Even the best scientists in the world told him that it was delusional and it was never going to happen. And then what? He made it happen. So, did Elon Musk let the opinions of others stop him from bringing his vision to reality? No. He didn't try to convince people of his vision. He just made it happen. And then people were like, oh, it was right. And, and that's what I do. That's the same thing that I do. I don't tell people what I'm working on until it's already working. And when people see that it's already working and I already have the proof, then I don't have to justify and explain myself because the results speak for themselves. Now, obviously, you can't keep everything a secret forever. And at some point, you're going to have to share that information with someone, but be very selective about who gets that information early and try to protect it for as long as you can. The only people who should know what you're working on before it's done should be people who are already where you want to be. So, people who have walked the path that you're trying to walk, and people whose reaction to your idea is going to be useful feedback instead of just projection of their own fears. Everyone else doesn't need to know. And that includes most of your family. Your family is the biggest threat to your success. And it's not because they don't love you, it's the opposite. They actually love you very much, probably, and they want to protect you. And they want the best for you, and they don't want you to face the same struggles that they did. So naturally, they tell you things like, oh, go to college, study, get a stable job, get a 9 to 5, so you have job security and you can start a family, etc., etc., etc. And if you're like me and you were raised by a single by a single immigrant parent, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about because they're gonna tell you these things because they don't want you to face the same struggles that they did, and they want you to have more opportunities, the opportunities that they didn't have growing up. Unfortunately, in 2026, things are very different. The safe path doesn't exist anymore. Job security doesn't exist anymore thanks to AI and all the new technology, and the world is changing. So their vision of the world is outdated and it's wrong. So they're doing you more harm than good when they're giving you this advice, but they're doing it with good intentions. Now, this is a very delicate subject because you can't be mad at your parents for wanting you to have a good life. And I know the natural reaction to your parents not believing in you is you being mad and hating them, but you also have to understand their perspective. Don't be mad at them, just lie to them. And I know it sounds bad to lie to your parents, but in this case, it's not. And if you're over 18, you don't have to tell everything your parents. If you don't need to explain every single thing that you do to your parents. Obviously, don't be a burden to them as well. Like, you have to be reasonable. You have to use your logic. And if your parents are supporting you financially, for example, and you're wasting all their money and to build a business, but you're not doing shit, then you're a piece of shit, and you shouldn't do that. But if you're independent, you have your own job, you live by yourself, then you don't need to tell them everything. If you want to quit your 9 to 5 and you want to pursue business, do it without telling them. If you want to quit college, get a job so that you can support yourself, so that you're not a burden to your parents. Don't tell them shit and do it. Now, I'm not telling you to do either of those things. Like, I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm not telling you to drop college. I'm not like these gurus who tell you, yeah, quit your job, drop college, and start drop shipping, start this business, that you'll become a millionaire in 30 days if you do this, if you buy my course. I'm not one of those. If you want to do these things, you can do them, but you have to take responsibility of your own actions and you have to understand what you're getting yourself into. So do it, but think about it. If you want to do these things, do them, but think about them. Like, be reasonable, be logical. Don't just do it because a 17-year-old who's never left his hometown and doesn't know shit about real life told you to do it. But I digress. The point is, you need to lie to your family because their opinions will infect your brain with doubt and fear. So it's much easier to just do the work in silence and then you can show the proof that it's already working. Now, lying in this case just means protecting your vision from external factors that might influence your judgment. You need to kind of put a shield and make your own decisions. Or if you have to listen to someone, just listen to people who have already accomplished what you're trying to accomplish. And I see a lot of people say, tell your goals to everyone so that when people don't believe in you, you have that motivation, you have that fire. So, you want to prove them wrong. Like, for example, when you tell your goal to someone and they tell you you won't make it, you get angry and now you get a lot of motivation and you want to work even harder because you want to prove that person wrong. You want to prove them wrong, right? Whoever told you that. And I get the logic. It kind of makes sense, but you're basically using other people to hold you accountable. And it might work to get to your goal, but I don't believe it's the best way. It's the best reason to do things. I don't think you should be doing things, you should be starting a business or whatever to prove people wrong. Because let's say you do start a business and let's say you do get successful. Now you have a business, you're making millions of dollars and you prove them wrong, right? Now what? How do you feel? You feel happy for like 10 minutes, and then you feel empty, and your life is like meaningless because all you did was just to prove someone wrong. That you didn't have a vision, you didn't have a real motivation inside of you that pushed you, that kept you going. You just wanted to prove someone wrong. So yeah, you can use that anger or sadness when people don't believe in you. You can use that feeling to fuel your work. You can work harder, but that shouldn't be the main reason why you do things. Your main motivation should be your vision, and the motivation should be the life that you want to build, maybe the family that you want to have, maybe the people that you love, that you want to help, the value that you can create for the world. These are good reasons to pursue your vision and to pursue your ambition. And if you have these good reasons, these valid reasons, you can work in silence. Yeah, you don't need to prove anyone wrong. You can work for as long as you need without needing anyone, without needing external motivation because you have that motivation inside of you. You won't feel the need to prove anyone wrong, not even your family, because it comes from a pure place. It comes from a good place. So, yeah, this is the reason why I think you should lie to your family if you're ambitious and you want to get to your goals. And yeah, I hope this video was helpful for you. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.